What's going on, everybody? It is the one and only Q from Retro Q Gamer back in effect, as always, with our 47th episode of our Quack experimental podcast. Now, of course, as always, we do have many different topics to talk about this week, so we might as well get right on into it, even though we are edging ever so closer to the 1 year anniversary. But anyway, back to the point. First topic at hand, we have small little one, but a very positive one that I'm really hyped for. We got Resident Evil 3. Now, we all know the Resident Evil 3 remake is less than a month away, or actually it's just over a month away, depending on the time you watch this video. But the most important thing is that it's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. If the Resident Evil 2 remake of last year is anything to go by, the Resident Evil 3 remake will also be great. And just like Resident Evil 2 remake, Capcom have announced that there will be a Resident Evil 3 remake demo. However, that's basically all they've said. They've announced that there will be a demo. They haven't announced when it's going to be out. They haven't announced what's the deal with it, in the sense of if it's the timed one-shot demo like Resident Evil 2 remake, or if it's going to be pre-launch, at launch, post-launch, or whatever it is. But overall, I'm hoping it comes out as soon as possible. I want to try it out. Obviously, it's going to run and look as good as the previous one with Resident Evil 2 remake, which, of course, looked great, ran great, unless you had a console or, well, you missed it completely on the Switch. But, of course, we only care about PC here. It is the best platform, obviously. But, yeah, we have to wait and see. The demo, or the game itself, is just over a month away. And that's a long time for them to bust out a demo. But speaking of busting out a demo, or lack of demo, or high quality visuals, or lack of which, next gen, yada yada yada, well, we're going back to looking at some next gen stuff, or rather, lack of next gen stuff. Simply because, like Microsoft and several other publishers and developers out there, Square Enix have confirmed that they will be making current gen games for as long as possible, which is, to quote someone very famous, important, and influential, did I say influential? Influential, fucking bullshit, man. But yes, that gets the point right across. So Square Enix have said that for the next couple of years, the first few years into next gen, they will be making cross-generation games. And it's mainly going to focus on backwards compatibility because of cross-generation bullshit. Which is a complete shame, because that means that any game that they release in the next few years will be gimped and hamstrung by shitty little Jaguar cores and the, well, piece of shit Xbox One from 2013. Yeah, that's always a fun thing to factor in when you're buying a 2020, 2021, 2022 game, and on your next gen system, and it is gimped and hamstrung and fucked up because of all of that too. Now, they have said in a few different situations that we don't know what way it's going to go. We don't know if they're going to have Xbox One, PS4, Xbox 5, Xbox or PS5 versions of games, or if they're just only going to make stuff like PS4 games and Xbox One games, because they will still work on your next-gen consoles because of backwards compatibility. So overall, it's kind of bullshit. I really dislike this practice. I don't give a shit. Oh, but from a business standpoint, blah, blah, blah. I don't give a shit about a business standpoint. Anyone that claims to give a shit about a business standpoint is typically a fanboy, because that doesn't benefit you in any way. So you shouldn't be defending that. You should be all about pushing forward the future. Cut pieces of shit like the Jaguar and the Switch out of development as much as possible. Make it so far ahead and so far advanced that it is not scalable down to that pathetic little hardware in any of the three cases. But yeah, really disappointing in that regard. So Microsoft have already announced that they're going to be doing it, and Square Enix have announced that they're going to be doing it. So yeah, why the hell am I flickering tonight? I don't know, that's weird. Didn't change anything. But hell, maybe some next gen lighting is in order. We'll ray trace the shit out of that. Now, as I promised earlier on in the week, based on Microsoft's huge amount of Xbox details, they took a big, massive, steaming dump of information to be out in the public. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, because I made a video earlier in the week that touched on one specific facet on what it would allow, but I did promise that we'd talk about the whole thing in detail, and here we are. So, some of the big details out from the Microsoft stuff for the Xbox include Quick Resume, which suspends up to multiple games for near instant return to gameplay again. Now, there's no number on the exact amount just yet, the exact amount of games, and just to give you a quick idea, stuff like the Xbox One and the PS4 only support one game for a quick resume. So basically what that means is, I'll just take a couple of random games. You could boot up GTA 5 and you could just have it playing, and then you could just kind of pause it. You know, you press the Xbox button, you're back on the dashboard, you scroll along to something else. Maybe you want to play the Master Chief Collection. You boot that up anyway, and then you're playing along again. You press the Xbox button, and then you scroll along. Maybe you want to play Halo 5 for some god-awful reason. And yeah, the same deal. You press the Xbox button again, and now you have 3 different games, all with suspended states, that you can just click back into: GTA 5, the Master Chief Collection, or Halo 5, and you will near instantaneously be back to where you left it, basically. So we know it's... Think of what you do with your PS4 games, your Xbox One games. It's that, but with multiple games. Now, of course, stuff like that does eat memory, so there will be limitations. Will something else have a problem because of it? We just don't know yet. Overall, I don't think it's crazy. It's not a super advanced feature. I mean, how often have you wanted that? Then again, maybe console guys have wanted that because they're used to waiting, because, well, everything they do runs and loads really slow. But hell, we've been using SSDs and PCs for nearly 10 years now, so we're used to fast stuff. We're not used to slow anything. But also, we have smart delivery. Now, this is something we talked about a little bit earlier in the week as well, where smart delivery will ensure that you play the best possible version of the game that you're trying to play based on the hardware, and the hardware that supports that version of it. So, for example, Xbox One, Xbox One X, Xbox One X patched and enhanced, or Xbox versions of the games. So basically, if you have let's say an Xbox One and you put in a version of the game, it will download, or you download a game, it will download the proper version for that. If you have an Xbox One X version or an Xbox One X console, it will download the patched, upgraded version. If you have the same one and it's running on Xbox, if the proper upgrade is available, you will be playing the Xbox version of the game instead of just the Xbox One X or the base version of the Xbox One version of the game. Now, this also includes the couple of extra things that they went and talked about here as well with smart delivery. It includes the ability to potentially give you the upgraded versions for free if you have the correct hardware. The developer and publisher will have to opt into it. Like, for example, the big one that we talked about and used as the example was Cyberpunk 2077, and they will give you the Xbox version for free if you buy the Xbox One version. So while the Xbox version may not be available at launch, maybe you put the Xbox One version into your Xbox, you're playing it on there the whole time, and then when the Xbox version does appear, you automatically are patched and upgraded to be playing it in its proper form, well, at least when it comes to console, on the new upgraded next-gen Xbox. But the big problem with this is other developers and publishers will most likely not bother with this. I can imagine that a lot of them will sell either cheaper upgrades, like maybe a $10 upgrade or whatever, to go from current gen to next gen, or it wouldn't surprise me at all if they just completely sold it as a full price separate version. Think like what they do with FIFA or some of the Battlefield stuff, or Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty and all that at the start of this generation. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. So they did talk a little bit about more new hardware details as well. I am very, very tired today, guys. I had a long day and a long night last night. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, that's a little bit of tongue twisting and all here too. Maybe that factors into my last night, but yeah, we have the AMD Zen 2 Ryzen-based CPU, which is what we already knew as well in there too. It has the custom 8-core version of it, as you would expect, and the GPU is Navi based on their RDNA 2, which of course is better because, Well, RDNA 1 is okay, but RDNA 2 is their more recent, refreshed, upgraded version, if you will. Now, they've also said that there will be a 12 teraflop GPU inside there based on the RDNA 2. Now, that's something important that we have a separate segment about later, so keep an eye on that one too. They've also said there will be hardware-based DirectX ray tracing, which is very, very promising, and, well, it's console. We have to see how it goes. Variable rate shading, which I don't know why everyone is praising because it's just for poor people, aka dynamic shadows, basically, or dynamic shading. It has the custom built SSD, which, well, welcome to 2012, console guys. And it has 120 FPS support for gaming. That's kind of important in some ways. Microsoft and Sony, for their next gen consoles, have tried to tout at least 60 frames per second, sometimes even more, so they can finally jump up to that, 3 or 4 decade old standard. Hell, it's 2020 now, so it's actually a 4 decade old standard at this point. So they can finally get up there after flopping at it for about 15 years. Thankfully, at long fucking last one. I can't wait to see everyone try to defend it and say that they were wrong the whole time. But you know what? I'll sit back and laugh and say I was right, and you fucking plebs are just disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Anyway, they've also said that the console is going to have some extra features to help lower input latency automatically based on the type of TV or monitor you're using, as well as the settings and the manufacturer and the game mode and a couple of other ones in there too. So it will kind of automatically synchronize and kind of work with that too to give you the lowest input latency basically, which is a good thing of course. The new Xbox controller also does the same thing with what they call dynamic latency input, which synchronizes the input to what is being displayed on the screen. Basically, it means frame rate. Your input delay will be tied to your current frame rate, which is really a bad idea because once the FPS drops, which it will because these are consoles, yeah, your controller response will just slow down in accordance with it, which is, yeah. And having said all of that, of course, with all the details we've looked at in here so far, I have one little thing to comment about, well, pretty much all the Xbox details, the new ones that we just learned, and anything we've learned since it was announced or even potentially leaked. Give us the fucking release date and price. But now we'll turn our attention back to the most important, best platform in gaming, the glorious PC Gaming Master Race, because we have Black Mesa. Now, I've talked about Black Mesa many a time at this point, and I have always noted that I am waiting for the official full 1.0 release, which has been tipped as coming soon, before I sit down and finally actually play Black Mesa. Now, I'm very hyped for Black Mesa, I can't wait to finally play it, and it turns out that the final full release of version 1.0 has a date. That date is several days from now, on March 5th. Of course, there will be post-launch patches and fixes and small updates and whatnot too. But most importantly, even though this segment is only going to be like 1 minute long, I will finally get to play it. And it will fit in right before Doom Eternal, which is going to be fan-fucking-tastic. So I can't wait. Later this week, or I guess later next week, because it is still technically Sunday, and we all know, like non-insane people, that Monday is the start of the week. Well, yeah, it's going to be. Let me see. I'm just going to quickly open to see what day is the 5th. And that is the important one. The 5th is Thursday. So, Black Mesa, you're going to get the shit played out of you on Thursday. I cannot wait. And just like other things we have that I cannot wait for, we have pro-consumer business practices. Stuff that I absolutely love talking about. However, these days usually are far, far too sparse and in absolutely no way, shape, or form commonplace and abundant. But anyway, pro-consumer practices, as we all know, are things that drive the social justice blog taku people. They drives them wild because they fight against it with their anti-consumer, pro-corporate bullshit. But GOG, Good Old Games, GOG Galaxy, CD Projekt, whatever way you want to know it, because they technically own GOG, they have updated the refund policy. Now, if you know anything about refund policies on the various digital storefronts across the PC, there are several different caveats when getting refunds. Some of them need to be within a certain time frame. Maybe you have to have bought the game in the last 2 weeks, or the game has actually had to launch within the last 2 weeks. You might only be able to play a certain amount of time. You might only be able to refund it if it's within 2 hours. You might not be able to refund it if you've played it at all. But GOG have taken things a little bit further. They've made it even better. And now GOG will allow you to request a refund for any reason whatsoever within 30 days. Now you have to remember that GOG is a DRM-free store. So, in theory, you could buy and maybe not even return, or maybe you don't even not finish the game. Maybe you buy it, you play it for 2 weeks, and then you finish the game. You could potentially request a refund. And even after that, you can still keep the game and play it. Now, I do not recommend doing that. I'm not endorsing doing that. I don't use GOG at all, but GOG are going out of their way to be pro-consumer in this regard. They're doing everyone a solid. Please do not take advantage of this, because you will ruin it for everyone, and you will probably only save like €60 or $50 or whatever didgeridoos or dollaridoos or whatever it is crazy currency you use. But if you do fuck and use and abuse this, it fucks it up for everyone. Even though I will probably never have any cause to ever use this, I don't want to see shit like this get taken away because of a few fuck-ups. Now, of course, it's not a whole blanket refund policy. There's not a no questions asked or anything like that. But they'll now review every case, every request for a refund individually, and they'll see how it goes from there. They'll see what the reason is, if it's valid and whatnot, when it was bought, yada, yada, yada. And then they will potentially refund you or potentially deny it. But overall, this is a great thing. I'm happy to see it, even if it doesn't affect me directly, because, well, I'm not an anti-consumer social justice blog taku shill. But speaking of anti-consumerism and bullshit shills and whatnot too, we have Borderlands 3. And of course, Borderlands 3 finally has a Steam release date. After 6 months of paid bullshit timed exclusivity from Epic Games, all 3 versions of the game should be available. Now, that includes the base version of the game, the one with some DLC, and the big season pass and all the extra crazy shenanigans and all included there with it too. And they've also announced that the second DLC and detailed the same one as well. So they've given the release date on Steam for the base game, which will have the first DLC already included in it by default, or already released and available by default. And they've also said that when the second DLC is going to be coming out. Now, the game itself arrives on March 13th, which is just under 2 weeks away, which puts it at exactly a 6-month timed exclusivity. The DLC, the second DLC that is, hits on the 26th of March, so about just under 2 weeks later, so chances are you might get a chance to play through the game, play through the first DLC, get up to the appropriate level, blah blah blah. And something that's really important to notice is that crossplay between the Epic Game Store version and Steam will be available day one. This is something that a lot of people never mention, because people will just say, oh, it's just a different launcher and whatnot too. That's not the case. For some godforsaken, unknown bullshit reason, companies, Epic Games, all this crap, all this shit, when they opt in to do this bullshit, they typically make it a walled experience, not to be able to play with other platforms. And when I say other platforms, I don't just mean the PS4 and Xbox One. I'm talking about other PC digital storefronts. That's a big one that a lot of people just completely don't think of whatsoever. Now, I'll give you a great example of this as well. Final Fantasy 15, for example. When that released on PC, it released on multiple different storefronts. If you bought the Windows 10 exclusive store version, I don't know why I said exclusive in there, the Windows 10 store version, you could only play with other Windows 10 store users and Xbox One users, which means you could play with about 6 other people. If you bought the Steam version, you could play with hundreds of millions of other Steam users that would potentially buy the game, because Steam is the biggest gaming platform in the world. If you had the Origin version, you could play with the other 4 people that bought it on Origin, and if you bought it on Uplay, you could play with that one other guy who bought it on Uplay. Very, very stupid situation. So many of this crossplay thing was left off and whatnot too. Now, for the most part, all of this is usually made available to the developer. Maybe it's because of contractual reasons, so maybe Epic Games prohibited or whatever it is originally, or Windows 10 or Origin, or maybe there's some other stuff that they don't want to work on. But the point is that it is a big problem when you have different versions of the game with different servers and whatnot, just because they're on a different launcher with no crossplay. It completely negates the whole situation of everyone playing on PC. Because now you have everyone playing on PC broken into 5 different spots that can't play with each other. Now, of course, Borderlands isn't one of these, because crossplay will be available in their day one. But that's the main thing. They've said there's some other stuff as well, something I wasn't 100% sure of. I believe it's the ability to trade between accounts, or gift stuff, or share stuff, or whatever it is. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't played the game properly to know exactly what they're talking about and how it works. But that will be coming post-launch. But I will reiterate one more time, crossplay is available between the Epic Game Store version and Steam on day one. Now, of course, here is the big question again, just like we had with Metro Exodus: the price. Now, unlike Metro Exodus, because fucking Randy Pitchford is fucking Randy Pitchford, I have a feeling that they'll be cunts about this, and I have a feeling that they will launch it at full price. Metro launched at about 66% of the price. I believe it was supposed to be €60 at first, but then it released at 40, sale excluded, of course. But I have a feeling that Borderlands 3 is probably going to launch at full price. In which case, I say, Randy, fuck you. Of course, I'll be waiting for a sale to buy it regardless, for 2 different reasons. One, I don't want to support this kind of practice to say that, yeah, we will just throw whatever amount of money at it the day it becomes available on our platform, and then you don't suffer for it. So I will gladly wait and pick it up, the Game of the Year edition, for like €7 or whatever it is when it eventually, inevitably, goes on sale in a couple of months. And there's one other one as well. My current computer can't max it out at 1440p, completely maxed out with 60 plus FPS. So by the time I do buy it and it does go on sale, new graphics card, baby, RTX 3080 Ti. Let me just load up them FPS, load up those max settings, and woo lad, away we go. Of course, I should in theory be able to max the game out completely, but like Borderlands 2, Borderlands 3 is massively and terribly unoptimized. Because let's look at a lot of the Unreal Engine games that are highly optimized, and they run absolutely exceptionally well, and they typically look gorgeous. But of course, like Borderlands 2, Borderlands 3 is an absolute mess in that regard. And we got another game, importantly, to talk about here too. Not because of the game itself and anything to do with the gameplay or the mechanics or whatnot. We have Baldur's Gate 3. And now, Baldur's Gate 3, of course, as you know, is only currently confirmed for PC and Google Stadia, which kind of makes sense because, well, Stadia is just a PC far away from you. So I understand that, of course, Stadia being the worst platform ever. But yeah, anyway, back to the whole situation. We have the potential and possibility of Baldur's Gate 3 coming to next generation consoles eventually. They have talked about this, and they said it is a very real possibility. They just haven't factored it in yet, and it could come down the line. Now, David Walgrave, who is fairly high up in the studio, he has also commented on the potential possibility of bringing it to current gen consoles, and he just says that I don't think current gen consoles would be able to run it. There's a lot of technical upgrades and updates that we did to our engine, and I just don't know if it would be capable of being able to actually run on those things. Maybe it could run, but then we would have to tone down the textures and this and that, and it wouldn't look as cool anymore. So I'm happy to hear this because, one, I want current generation shit factored out of development as soon as possible. No one uses a Jaguar CPU. No one has probably ever used a Jaguar CPU for gaming. Do you know why? Because it is literally unplayably bad. Unfeasibly underpowered. Even back in 2012, 2013, when they launched and they came out. And to see, there's a big conversation going on at the moment where scalability of next gen comes in. Games that can take, we won't say take advantage, but games that can run on next generation hardware, but are also designed and factored into current generation standards, are gimped completely. The size, the scope, the scale, everything about them is gimped down and factored to incorporate the shitty old hardware, which is a damn shame. And I am so happy to see that Baldur's Gate 3 is one of the games that will be cutting it off straight away as soon as possible. And it really flies in the face of what Microsoft and a couple of their fanboys and paid shills have been saying as well. Because many people out there who have been, wherever they are on whatever platform they're on, they know and they can see and understand that compromises have to be made from a fundamental game design standpoint in order to factor in this shitty old hardware. So you're gimping your titles. Even if you play the next generation version, even if you play the Xbox version of Halo Infinite, choices, design, concessions were made even on your version to factor in this shitty old version. And as soon as they go away, the sooner they go away, the better. Because we get better everything. Better size, quality, scale, scope, everything. As soon as it all goes away. And I am so happy, so happy that Baldur's Gate 3 will not be compromising on what it wants to do because of that shitty old hardware. And I can't wait. And like I said, it really flies in the face of what Microsoft have been saying. It's like, there'll be no limitations there'll be no limitations for Halo Infinite. It's not going to suffer from factoring in the Xbox One. 100% facts that this is how game design, programming, hardware, scaling, and optimization come into play. Check and fucking mate, Microsoft. You got fucking posed. Just like everyone. All their fanboys and all of that too. But speaking of Xbox, you might remember that earlier on in this one, I talked a little bit about the upcoming power and performance and some of the other specs when it came to the Xbox. Now, one thing that's more notable going around at the moment, it seems to be that obviously the 12 teraflop GPU of the Xbox is confirmed. It looks like the PlayStation 5 is going to have a 9.2 teraflop GPU. There are fanboys out there who are saying it's going to be higher based on no actual info and fake leaks that they just don't go anywhere and can't cite. But overall, it looks like it could potentially be a 9.2 teraflop GPU in the PS5 and a 12 teraflop GPU in the Xbox. Now, everyone is throwing out all these crazy numbers and all this crazy specs and theory and whatnot. Like, for example, if you look at a 12 teraflop GPU, you are looking at something that would be the equivalent, or at least roughly the equivalent, of NVIDIA's second highest end GPU in the consumer space, the 2080 Super. Of course, it's not as good as the 2080 Ti, but you get the point. It would be a significant upgrade. That's not even factoring in the likes of, say, NVIDIA and AMD, of course AMD being inferior in GPUs, I suppose I was going to say in both, but when it comes to GPUs, at 10 teraflop AMD will run worse in almost every case than a 10 teraflop NVIDIA card. But that's not even factoring in all of this. What I want to kind of educate people on is that, yes, in theory, in the regular GPU market, teraflop performance can give a good idea of a ballpark of the theoretical experience and theoretical performance that you can expect from a card. However, in consoles, this is not the case. Obviously, in the PC space, there's a little bit of wiggle room because of AMD or NVIDIA, But in the console space, this also isn't the case because you get custom, cut down, low end versions of GPUs and hardwares. Let me give you a great example of this that I want to just use to tell everyone to keep your expectations in check, rein it in a little bit. You might remember, or you might not remember, when early 2013, before the Xbox One and PS5 launched, both of those console manufacturers were marketing every game as 1080p and 60 FPS, which was an absolute abject failure because it barely touched them. The games that could actually do that are probably in the single digits after 7+ years. Single digits, I would say. Maybe low double digits. But anyway, back to the point. We have the Xbox One X, not the Xbox, but the Xbox One X. This console has a 6 teraflop GPU, but it runs games very, very poorly. It runs them at sub 30 frames per second a lot of the time. It runs them with very low quality, well, everything. Visuals, textures, assets, obviously some of them are the same thing, effects, shadow, lighting, yada yada yada, etc, etc. This is all from what is currently marketed as the world's most powerful available console with a 6 teraflop GPU. Let's flip on back to something I bought in 2012, my GTX 690. This GPU has a teraflop count of roughly 3.13, so it is roughly half as powerful as an Xbox One X on paper. However, it, in pretty much every case, will run games better than an Xbox One X. Think about that. It will run games at considerably higher frame rates, with considerably higher quality settings in basically every single way. The one I like to use as a great example is The Division 2 on Xbox One X. Your 6 teraflop GPU gets you sub 30 frames per second. It also gets you lower than lowest quality settings in every single way. That's a great turn-in from the world's most powerful console, isn't it? Usually that's something you would expect from the Switch, but no, the world's most powerful console. So you can see that a GPU with technically, officially on paper, roughly half, we'll just call it half for the sake of it because, well, what's 0.13 in the grand scheme of things? Yeah, half of the theoretical teraflop count, and yet it's outperforming it in every way. So temper your expectations, people, going into this next one. Because if you don't, you're in for a bad time. I hope I'm wrong. I hope everything does go well. I hope we do get high frame rates. I hope we do get high resolution everything. And I do hope we get great, high quality visual fidelity. But, well, history repeats and time flows. But another thing that flows is to the end of this episode because we have everyone's favorite little topic that I do want to bring up. And we have Q, what is up? What's going down? What's the deal? What is going on? What's the 411? What are you playing? Well, this week has been pretty damn lackluster. I'm still trying to get through Tales of Zestiria, however it's proven a little bit of a slog. I can kind of only play it for maybe like 30 minutes at a time. I did mention previously that it's possibly the least interesting main entry. The only other real one that I had a problem with was Tales of Xillia 2, but that was a sequel rather than a main entry. This one, however, it's proven a little bit of a slog. It's been a bit of a struggle anyway. But that's pretty much all I've been playing. I installed Battlefield 4 last night randomly to play a couple of maybe hours of Gunmaster while I was waiting on AEW Revolution to start. And, well, I had a little bit of fun in there, but then I uninstalled it and that's it. Coupled with Black Mesa launching later this week, I'm pretty much sorted. I think I'm just going to go back and play a couple of nostalgic SNES games or something along those lines just to keep me going until Black Mesa. And then, of course, I can play that for a few days. Then, who knows what's the following week. I have plans that following weekend. And then, of course, shortly after that, we have the likes of Doom Eternal, Animal Crossing New Horizons, and the TurboGrafx Core Mini 16. So I'll have plenty to do coming up in about 2 weeks from now. But so far, I will just talk a little bit about it too. We have AEW Revolution, which I watched last night. I stayed up for that one. That was an interesting night after that show ended and then getting up for whatever I was doing this morning. But here is the important thing. AEW Revolution was fucking fantastic. There's one match I had maybe 50% gripe on, because the match was maybe 50% good stuff, 50% bad stuff. The good stuff was great. Even in that particular match, the 50% good stuff in that match was great. There's so much potential in it. But there was also some other bullshit incorporated into that match. But so many of the other things, pretty much up and down the card, every single match that I can think of was amazing. Between stuff like Dustin Rhodes and Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin, you had the tag team match, which was fantastic, between the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page. Fantastic in so many different ways. Cody and MJF, the AEW World Championship match, everything included in there was so good. Like I said, the only thing that I had a little bit of gripe was the Pac Orange Cassidy match. I love Pac. He's fantastic. He's one of the best in the show. I can't wait till he gets a real push and a real proper deal. When Orange Cassidy was trying, he did really well, and there's so much potential for the match in there. However, they did usually run about 50% of it with their usual little bullshit kind of stuff, and the play kicks and whatnot too. But there's so much potential there anyway. Overall, the match is great. When I was watching it last night, I even said it to one of the guys, I just had real nostalgic WCW early teenage years nostalgia, because it just felt like what I loved and felt what I grew up with. It was so damn good. It was amazing, and I might rewatch it again while I'm rendering this video. It's just, or at least rewatch select matches and all that too. It's gonna be fantastic. I can't wait to keep watching and see how it goes in there too. Oh, also there was the Nyla Rose Chris Statlander match, which it still went pretty decently, and Chris Statlander looked great last night. It was just something to do with her hair. She was on fire, and of course Aubrey Edwards, even in her uniform, always looks like a little bit of a snack. But anyway, that's it. That is it for episode 47 of our Quack Experimental Podcast. I want to thank everyone for joining me, as always, putting up with me and toughing it out to make it all the way through this lovely little episode that we always do. As always, let me know in the comments section below any thoughts, feelings, opinions, questions, whatever it is, in anything we covered here today, because, well, that's how we do this stuff. Until then, of course, remember to hit the appropriate button to let me know how I did on the video, and while you're at it, why not head on over, hit the subscribe button, and even ring the little notification bell, so you can be one of those first few lovely little people that always gets the notifications. You know what's up every weekend when we get one of these bad boys out here. Until then, I want to thank everyone for watching, and remember, the winners don't play switch ports.